welcome to your 4 to 5, everybody. It is chilly. That is what we're talking about today. Eric, Chad, and Lauren with you all shivering in the studio.
Which is funny since that is the nickname that sometimes we call you. Is
Yes.
chilly.
Oh, eat chili.
Yeah, everything. And I'm living up to it today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that sun is very deceiving today.
This morning, if you stepped out at any point, it was a shock to the system.
And I didn't have a coat when I walked out this morning because I had left it in my car the night before. So I definitely felt that shock to the system.
Yeah, we got 2 more nights of this. So let's talk about this real
You're
quick.
like freeze warning, right?
Yeah, freeze warnings, 2 nights in a row. I mean, we're talking about a hard freeze too, right? So this isn't just like, oh, it's flirting with 32 degrees. No, we're mid-20s there, and this is probably 2 mornings in a row. Now, we will see big changes in high temperatures too, so we'll get to that in a minute. Let's show you where things stand right now across the region. Yeah, overall it's still cool, maybe not cold yet, but it will be. We're in the 40s, 44 in Greensboro and Reedsville, 42 Walnut Cove. If you look up in the higher elevations of Boone and Jefferson, Galax, they're in the mid to upper 20s already. Now, insult to injury today are the winds. Wind gusts have been upwards of 28 in Asheboro, 36 mile per hour gusts in Greensboro. Even in Boone, it's close to 40 miles per hour. We talked about this yesterday, and that will be the case. They will relax a little bit as we head into the night, but that makes it feel more like even right now, like it's in the mid 30s for Winston-Salem. Look at Galax and Boone. It feels like it's 14 degrees. So quick drop off in temperatures tonight, going into the 30s as early as 8 p.m., maybe even a little earlier than that, to be honest. And then everybody should be in the 20s tonight. Forecasted overnight lows, this is one particular model, but most of them upper 20s. That's pretty much everybody except in the highest elevations. As we talked about with this morning, 27 degrees, 29 tomorrow. That's the freeze warning, and it is going to stay like that for those 2 days. Now, help on the way, because high pressure changes, right? This shifts to the south. As that moves to the south, that ushers in warmer air for us, and that's kind of a warming trend that we're going to see over the next few days once we get through the mornings. Unusual, normally a temperature difference, by the way, between our low and our highs, around 20, 22 degrees, something like that normally. But when you look at the 7-day, and I want you to take a look, this is very rare that you'd see this. If you look at tomorrow, or Thursday rather, we've got 55 on Wednesday with a decent amount of sunshine, but look at Thursday with a morning low of 29 and a high of 63. That's really unusual for us to warm up that quickly. St. Patrick's Day, first half of the day looks good, but some rain coming in that evening with a high of 63. This weekend drying out and back into the 50s. Our normal high, by the way, is 61. And first day of spring, ironically, it's 52 degrees there for Monday, and a little rain on Tuesday and wet with a high of only 42.
The city of Greensboro has activated its white flag response because of the cold weather. The warming center on East Washington will be open tonight from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Anyone in need of warmth is welcome.
As the freezing temperatures set in, make sure you are staying up to date with the most accurate weather reports in the Triad. The easiest way to know the latest forecast is by using the free WFMY News 2 app.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, the man who shot 3 people from their motorcycles on Highway 29, killing 2 of them, will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. You'll remember a couple years ago when police arrested Martin Cox Jr. after he shot 3 motorcyclists near Reedsville. Quandre Carey and Hanifa Fitzgerald died. Her husband, Isaac, survived. During the trial, the district attorney said Cox shot them because he didn't like the patches on their vests. State police in Kentucky arrested him the next day. Cox pleaded guilty to 3 charges, and a judge sentenced him to life. The jury is now deliberating in the case against Laura Steele for her role in the January 6th Capitol attack. The FBI says the former High Point police officer was also a member of the Oath Keepers when she stormed the Capitol. She's charged with 5 felonies and is on trial with 5 others.
The president signed an executive order today hoping to strengthen gun control laws. This order would increase the number of background checks to buy a gun and promote secure firearm storage. AP reports that though the order does not change U.S. government policy, it asks federal agencies to ensure existing laws and procedures are being upheld.
If you've already filed your taxes, you could see your state refund as early as this week. The state says it started issuing refunds last week. There's also an online tool to help you check the status of your refund. Again, this is just for your state refund. You can find it on the Department of Revenue's website. A reminder, this year's filing deadline is April 18th.
Inflation is top of mind for many consumers. Prices continue to rise. The cost of everyday items remain high, but measures to solve the problem could be put on hold because of an issue in the banking system.
a trip to the grocery store keeps getting more expensive. A new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows food prices are up more than 10% in the past year. Rents are marching higher, and utilities like electricity and piped gas jumped more than 13%. The higher costs are hitting restaurants hard, including the Root Cafe in Little Rock, Arkansas.
We've seen an increase of about 30 to 40% in our gas prices.
Overall, inflation increased 6% in February. Historically, it's a big annual increase, but less than the 6.4% number back in January.
The takeaway from this report is that prices are decelerating, but they remain high.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to cool inflation. And Chairman Jerome Powell recently told Congress that more hikes would be coming.
Without price stability, the economy does not work for anyone.
Economists had expected a quarter or even a half-point increase when the board meets next week. But that was before the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank and New York-based Signature Bank.
There is a real question as to what the Fed will do. There are many who believe that the instability of the financial and banking system, even though it's just small banks or medium-sized banks, that could be enough to put the Fed's plans on ice for next week, that they could pause, but also tell us that it's not over.
Schlesinger says if there is a pause, it would only be temporary because the Fed is committed to bringing inflation down.
Here's an interesting conversation. When you have leftovers that have surpassed even their leftover life, what do you do with them? Well, you probably throw them out. Well, there's a new cookbook that's giving leftovers a second chance. It's called the Everlasting Meal Cookbook, Leftovers A to Z. It provides ways to minimize food waste and save money by alphabetically listing leftovers and pairing them with an easy at-home recipe. I'm glad that this exists because I always get really nervous about both leftovers, but also food that I have in the refrigerator that is past or close to its expired date.
Well, and we've done these stories before where Best Buy doesn't exactly mean that it's going to go bad. Then there's so many different things. But some of my family, not my right in my immediate family, but my extended family will not eat leftovers. I love them.
I like them too. Sometimes they taste better the next day because the seasoning really gets to soak into it. And if we want to get technical with it, the USDA says you have up to 4 days. So 4 days to eat whatever meals that you prepared ahead of time.
I told you what my mom used to say. Remember that line? My mom used to say, leftovers are like company, like people that visit. After 4 days, throw them out.
Yeah, I remember you saying that during one of Tanya's segments.
I love that one.
What's your favorite thing you like to do with leftovers?
So I like, well, I mentioned soups because I think you're right. Like soups taste better the next day when they've had a chance to sit longer. I don't combine a lot of leftovers, but I eat heavier, not heavier. I like lunch or dinner food for breakfast. I don't like cereal or oatmeal or something. I'll eat a sandwich for breakfast or a leftover, whatever we have for dinner.
I like taking chicken, say if I had a rotisserie chicken for dinner, using it to cut it up and put it in the salad the next day, or maybe even a sandwich. And when we think about the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we have days and days worth of leftovers. You could actually make a stew or a soup out of the turkey and using the bone and all that to give it flavor.
I like the day after Thanksgiving when you make like day after sandwiches. With all the stuff on
or
it.
omelets. You can make some ham for breakfast. So many things.
So hungry now.
All right, we're going to turn the page now. We have 3 North Carolina teams that are getting ready to dance in the March Madness tournament. Duke, NC State, and UNC Asheville. You can watch the Duke game right here on WFMY on Thursday at 7 p.m. We'll have March Madness games on our air from noon to 5 and 6:30 to 11 p.m. both Thursday and Friday. So that means our regular programming will not air. This means no 4 to 5, but don't worry, we'll be back. This Women's History Month, WFMY is highlighting women making major contributions to our community. Today we highlight Dr. Jalima Speaks and how she empowers women every day. Dr. Jalima Speaks is a girl's girl. As an OBGYN, she has a passion for women, especially her patients.
It's such an invaluable relationship to have an opportunity to speak to women and patients about some of the most private and vulnerable things that go on in their lives. The fact that they trust me with that is something that I take very seriously and very deeply to heart.
Dr. Speaks wears many hats. Not only is she the market lead on women's and children's services with Novant Health, but she is also the first African-American female chief of staff for the hospital.
Dream up and operationalize and implement the strategy to help continue to make sure we're providing excellent care to the women in our community, and how we can get our message and our patient care philosophy throughout the greater Winston-Salem market.
She says her desire to focus on women's care was encouraged by a family of strong women, like her grandmother who taught Lamaze and yoga from her screen porch, exposing Dr. Speaks to pregnant women very early on.
I think many of us would be hard-pressed not to be able to think of a woman who we really owe a lot of gratitude towards, to getting us where we are, to nurturing us, to empowering us, to just rooting us on.
When she's not delivering babies and helping others expand their own families, she's at home caring for her husband and 2 kids. She hopes her story shows other young ladies that with hard work and dedication, anything is possible.
Women, we're half of our population, and we bring different skill sets and different passions to the table that just enrich the experience for everybody. So keep going.
Absolutely love this story. She's a great example for, as a woman, you could do it both. You could do it all. You can have the family and you can have a job that's very taxing, that requires a lot of attention and care, and you can do both great at the highest level.
When she speaks, she just seems happy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I like it's, I guess Maya Angelou said, it's how people make you feel that matters. And you look at her and just listen to her, you know there's a light in there, you know?
You know, we were talking yesterday about who you would thank in your acceptance speech, you know, if you won an Oscar. I love the story that she shared of her grandmother and how she really got interested in it when her grandmother would teach Lamaze yoga. I mean, that's just such a cool story to have someone that you look up to at a very young age that helps develop you into a career that you're passionate about.
And it's all about that exposure, and I think in all of our lives, no matter what career path we went into, I'm sure there's a woman along the way, whether it be your mother, your grandmother, your teacher, your pastor, that pretty much inspired you to do what you do today.
It's interesting, and you said, I think, did you say your husband was her high school sweetheart?
Yeah.
See, that's a foundation that started a long time ago. And
Right.
when you have something that solid, that long, that's a good foundation to build on.
Yeah. Excited to see what she does next. She's doing some great things over with Novant Health.
She's a smart lady. We'll be right back. Too cold. We are too cold. Yes, overnight lows in the 20s. Talking about freeze warnings. We had that this morning. We will do it again tomorrow. But a warming trend is coming. We just have to wait a little bit to get there. Big differences between our high temperature and our low temperature when we get to Wednesday. It's kind of amazing. It usually doesn't happen this way. But 44 degrees in the Triad, already in the 20s in the higher elevation. Boone showing up at 26. But if you head toward the coast, Fayetteville in that area, we're in the 50s. So big differences across the state. These are wind gusts, and this is sort of adds insult to injury, doesn't it? Makes it feel already like it's in the 30s right now, and we're not in the 30s. So the wind gust 36 miles per hour in Greensboro. If you go up to Boone, it was close to 40, 28 in Asheboro, 32 Burlington. You get the idea. It was definitely a blustery day across the region. Overnight lows tonight forecasted to be in the upper 20s, so we'll see that. The good news is once we get past tomorrow, this high pressure starts to settle in a little bit. That'll bring our temperatures back up. Normal high temperatures this time of the year should be in the lower 60s, and we'll get there. You see the warmth returning little by little. That next cold front probably coming through Friday, so that would be a St. Patrick's Day nighttime shower or two if we see that, and rain chances actually look pretty good for that. That would be on Friday with a 50-50 shot of rain there. The high temperatures go from 55 tomorrow to 63 on Thursday, all sunshine. Friday clouds build, late night rain, probably ending Saturday morning. A little cooler for your weekend, 57 Saturday, 51 and sunny on Sunday. Now things start to cool down a little bit. Again, normal high temperature in the low 60s at 61. We're 10 degrees below normal on Sunday, so we're kind of jumping around a little bit. When you get to Monday, technically first day of spring, won't feel like it though, 52 there. Clouds building in, that's another low pressure system that should be moving by, and we think that really hits us more Monday night into Tuesday. That's a 50% chance of rain on Tuesday. Kind of a cold, wet day on Tuesday with 42 degrees for the high temperature. Well, you know, the Greensboro Science Center never ceases to amaze us, of course, with all of its unusual species of animals. But they really stumped me this time because I had actually never heard of this. It's called a fishing cat, and it proved to be one of the more unique animals that we've run into in a long time. It is definitely what to see at the GSC. So Megan, I'd never heard of a fishing cat. I mean, that cats and water to me don't go together, but it is the case with this.
Absolutely. So yeah, fishing cats are very unique species as far as small cats go. They're native to South and Southeast Asia, so across Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, into Cambodia and even Vietnam. They're kind of sporadic and they're spread out there, but they definitely don't shy away from water. So they're known to hang around swamps, mangroves, near rivers and lakes. And
do they really fish?
They do.
How do they do that?
Absolutely catch fish. A lot of times they just hang out and wait, kind of like ambush predators. So they'll wait for a fish to come up close to the surface and then they just dive in really quick and catch them.
That's
They're
amazing.
very efficient hunters. They've got partially webbed feet to help with swimming and getting around in water, and also semi-retractable claws, so that their claws are always out to help give them a little bit extra traction.
So is this part of a breeding program as well?
They are. So we have a male and female, Mako and Tallulah. Tallulah's our mom. She's a very good mama. She's very good at taking care of her babies once we have them. So these guys are very similar to house cats in that they're not too much bigger than them, but they're definitely not a cat that you want in your home.
Yes.
If you can probably smell how strong they smell.
Yes, it is.
And they're wild cats. They don't make great pets.
Yeah.
So they're better left in the wild or in a facility like ours that can provide a proper space for them.
And the vocalization, that's normal, you said, the way
Yeah.
they're...
So they have a very unique vocalization too. It's not like a meowing kind of sound that people usually associate with cats. It's very growly, like rah, 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 rah.
It's almost like, it sounds like a panther talking. You know,
Yeah,
that's...
yeah, and it sounds a little grumbly and rough to us, but that's how they communicate with one another. That's
Beautiful.
how Tallulah communicates with her baby.
Well, thank you for letting us take a peek. This is great.
Of course.
So just so you know, we had to shoot the story in there, in that room. That's why a little loud because they have things running along. But they have to keep them in isolation right now to make sure that the baby stays healthy and the mom. But the mom was growling when we first walked in. We didn't have our camera rolling yet. But she said they vocalize and it sounds like they're talking in a low voice. So they'll go like, rum, 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 rum. like that to each other, and you can hear it, and it's just the strangest sound. But they'll be on display eventually.
Very, very cute. Is there, I know that they were contained at the moment, but are they ever allowed to walk around on the property?
Well, and when we shot this is a while back, so it was too cold, probably definitely right now. But by spring or so, late spring, they hope to get them back out there so people can see them. But what's interesting, the way they fish, some of them, she said they will pat their paw on top of the water and draw the fish up, and then they grab them. So that's the way that sometimes they'll fish in the wild. But they're native to Southeast Asia. You'd never see anything.
That would be a sight to see how that works. Yeah.
It's funny that you had asked the question. You know, I don't really think of cats being near water, right? But I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah, and they live like always right by the water. She said they're fishing cats.
I have a lot in common with them.
You like to hang out by the water?
She taps toward the water.
No.
And
Yeah, you do have
Oh
the
yeah,
print.
you're kind of
Got the print there.
A fishing cat print? I wonder if fishing cats eat catfish.
That's a good question.
Possibility.
I don't know if catfish are native to Asia.
That was my.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Yeah.
The
dad
catfish
joke.
might be too deep in the water for them.
Maybe.
It was more of a joke. I don't know.
All right, so here's a question
Stick
for
to
you.
your day job.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen a pregnant hippo ultrasound, but take a look. The
Wow.
Greensboro Science Center gave us a look inside into the bouncing baby hippo waiting to be born. This ultrasound recording that you can see there, they say that the doctor's looking at that, and it was kind of amazing. The doctor says that the baby hippo does look healthy and ready to meet the world, maybe as soon as anywhere from tomorrow to May 1st.
Wow.
So, of course, we'll let you know as soon as we hear any good news.
It's like the giraffe cam, right?
That's right, but even better.
Waiting for April.
We'll be back.
Today on U Day, Coach Lamont takes some time to guide us through the importance of discipline, how to have it, and how to use it in your daily life.
A life without discipline is a life of negative consequences. Now you have the power to prevent this. There are some experiences in life which are avoidable if only discipline was applied. No discipline means no boundaries. Without boundaries, what we don't want in life, we seem to get in that life. There's a proverb which says that a person without discipline is like a city built without walls. In the days of old, cities were surrounded with walls to protect them from their enemies. Discipline builds walls around you, protecting you from the things you don't want in your life. Without discipline, you declare war against yourself, preventing you from experiencing the fullness of you. Discipline yourself now in what you want in life. My friend, you're going to get in this life. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I am experiencing something similar to that right now. So I'm getting ready to go on vacation where I'm going to be in a swimsuit. And so my diet is very strict and has been that way for several weeks. And then just the last couple of days, I'm like, well, you know, we're getting close enough that it's probably okay to cheat a little bit. And then you cheat, and then you want to cheat again. And so the discipline is there for a reason.
Yeah, the self-discipline when it comes to dieting, that's a big role for myself as well, because you have to have that willpower. Like me and cookies, Girl Scout cookies. It's hard for me to take them home because I'm going to eat the whole row instead of just a couple cookies. So the food aspect of self-discipline is very important.
When I was in college, my roommate was my best friend from home. He was way more disciplined than I was. He was just he had everything. And so one time he told me, he goes, you know, if you would just study about 2 hours a day, you wouldn't have to be up all night studying. And I would watch this guy 2 hours a day, and then he never had the stress. I know we don't know that probably because I know of our personalities, but I'd be up all night long studying. So I watched how discipline played a role in his life and made everything a lot easier.
Yeah, discipline will definitely take you far. That's why I think it's so important for younger people, for children to get involved in sports or maybe picking up an instrument, because it really teaches you how to apply that to your life overall as well.
And parents, discipline your children.
Yeah, that too.
Please do that.
Don't let them run all over you. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
You're not their friend.
That's right.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Eric, Lauren, and Chad with you today on this chilly Tuesday. And you know, this is the time of year where you get a little taste of some heat, right? Every now and then you get like, oh, some 70s or something. And I start to remember what it felt like, and I'm over cold weather.
Oh, I've been over the cold.
You always are over it.
Been over it.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time we even had a freeze warning? It's probably been weeks.
This morning, but other than that,
right? Yeah.
No, it's been a while,
Yeah.
and this is going to be. You can't ever say this is the last of it. Not in March.
Yeah.
Give us another 2 or 3 weeks, but the average high right now is 61. That's where we should be.
I'm just worried about all the plants that I've seen and the flowers and the trees that are blooming with so many nights of this in a row.
If you have potted plants, bring them in.
Bring them
tonight.
inside.
Yes.
Can you cover them? Will that work if
You can cover
put
them,
a cover
but
over
make
them?
sure it's cloth, whatever you use. Some people use like bed sheets and stuff. Don't use plastic because that can actually hurt them. And the next morning to take it off as soon as the sun is coming up. Yep. Sorry, I digress. Now I'm into potted plants. Let's talk about this. The hard freeze tonight, mid-20s. That's going to be tomorrow morning. Yeah, again, we're in the 20s. And some of you will see upper 20s, but regardless, right, below freezing. Not just hovering around the freezing mark. This is what we call a hard freeze, so several hours below freezing, and actually a decent good bit below freezing. Let's look at the current temperatures, and we're in the 40s here in central North Carolina, 44 in the Triad, at least at PTI. You head toward Raleigh, it's 48. Warms up to 55 in Wilmington, but if you take a peek back north and west, Boone's at 27 degrees. That's actual temperature right now. So they'll probably be in the teens tonight while we're in the 20s. Winds are a problem too. That makes it feel even cooler than what it is right now. 35 miles per hour in Winston-Salem. These are maximum gusts today, by the way, not sustained winds. Just every now and again we'd hit a gust. 36 Greensboro, 28 miles per hour Asheboro, 28 in Mount Airy. In the mountain communities, it was closer to a 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gust. Overnight lows tonight, again, we're mentioning low 20s in the high elevations, but for us, mid to upper, probably 26 to about 29 degrees for the range of overnight lows across the central parts of our state. Now, high pressure changes everything. As that sinks down south and east, remember that clockwise flow we always talk about around the high. If it moves over this way and we're on the left side of that, that's a warmer flow. Winds will be coming in out of the south, and that will warm us up. The next front we see to bring some rain probably coming in Friday, unfortunately for St. Patty's Day, but it's second half of the day, so maybe afternoon and evening on Friday. First half of the day may be okay. Let's take a look at our 7-day, and we'll go through the days for you here. Tomorrow, sunshine, 55, and then 63 and sunny on Thursday. It'll still be cold Thursday morning, 29 degrees, 63 on Friday, and then clearing and cooler for your weekend with 57 on Saturday and 51 on Sunday.
As we approach St. Patty's Day, be aware of the Booze It and Lose It campaign. As you know, law enforcement fully equipped to determine whether someone is driving under the influence. They have 6 different testing units. North Carolina has sobriety checkpoints set up in every county. The campaign suggests using a ride-share program to avoid getting a ticket.
Festivities like St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner, which means all the festivities are too. The City of Burlington Parks and Rec is hosting the 6th annual Downtown Burlington St. Patty's Day Bash. The event is this Friday from 5 to 9. There will be traditional Irish performances, live music, food trucks, and more events. Both Front and Main Street will be closed for the event from 2 to 10 on Friday. For more information, you can visit our website.
You've heard us talk about 2 recent shootings outside businesses in downtown Winston-Salem. Well, tonight there's a meeting to talk about safety concerns downtown. The city is hosting a public safety network meeting with business owners, police, and anyone who lives there. The 6 p.m. meeting is open to the public.
River Run International Film Festival is hosting a group of Ukrainian filmmakers. The group is visiting the University of North Carolina School of the Arts, where they are able to share their work and engage in dialogue. This comes at a time when the Russian invasion is still devastating Ukraine.
They've all remained in country to capture very important circumstances and events, mostly centered on the conflict in Ukraine right now. So their work was just seen as being very timely and crucially important.
The filmmakers discussed being successful with fewer resources than the larger industries, and then also with what's going on in their country as well, being able to still do the work that they do.
I mean, that's amazing to me. I can't imagine trying to, just documenting that, you know, and you don't know what's going to happen where and when, and you're out there trying to tell the story, and I mean, that's a lot harder than what we do every day.
I mean, imagine if we were put into that situation,
Yes.
you know, where there was a war and we had to cover it. I mean, you know, we cover hard things all the time, but to think about something like that could last for a year. I know this is really nothing like it, but it reminds me just of covering the pandemic in the first year.
Yeah.
Where everything was just so chaotic,
upside down
and different and evolving so quickly. And you know, I would love to be able to do a documentary of just what it was like to be a journalist during that time.
Covering the COVID pandemic and then also all the protests that took place during 2020 because we were reporting on something that a lot of us dealt with every day in our day-to-day lives. So you're not only reporting on the story, but you're in a way a part of the story as well. So there can be that conflict there, but there's also a beauty in being able to report on it too.
It's a good story.
Yeah, that's incredible what they're doing. All right, let's make this a little bit lighter, shall we? Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughn was recognized this afternoon as an honorary member of the Carolina Cowboys. The Cowboys are the state's first professional bull riding team. They're holding their 3-day combine featuring the area's top up-and-coming bull riders. This is the team's second season, owned by NASCAR great Richard Childress.
The first 2 games of the NCAA tournament tip off tonight. They're the play-in games that'll complete the round of 64. The first round starts on Thursday at sites across the country. Greensboro is also hosting first and second round games. A total of 8 teams will be playing in Greensboro later this week and through the weekend. Bigger names include Kentucky, Xavier, and the first game locally will tip off Friday afternoon. 3 North Carolina teams are getting ready to dance in the tournament: Duke, NC State, and UNC Asheville. You can watch the Duke game right here on WFMY on Thursday at 7 p.m. We'll have March Madness games on our air from noon to 5 and 6:30 to 11 p.m. both Thursday and Friday. That means our regular programming will not air. That includes our noon newscast and the 4 to 5.
It's the good old White House egg roll. Now, this is from 2022. The tradition, though, dates back to like the 1800s. It had to take like that 2-year hiatus due to COVID. But last year, it was back. And wouldn't it be cool to be part of that?
That would be.
Yes. I actually went to the White House egg roll several years ago when I was in the 2nd grade. I got to go, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Lots of people there, too.
Yeah, lots of people there. That was when Bill Clinton was in office, and I was able to go.
Okay, so kids and their families get to take part in the egg roll by entering in a lottery for tickets, and it's free. Okay, so you can be at the White House too, just like Lauren. All right, you can be there for this year's egg roll on Easter Sunday. It's April the 10th. The lottery to get a ticket opens up this Thursday, March 16th, and it goes for a week until next Thursday, March the 23rd. Now, last year, 30,000 people from all over the country came to the egg roll.
Oh, wait, so that's a pared down list of the people who entered.
Yeah, because it's a lottery,
right.
so 30,000 people, which is crazy. And the last stat I saw, there were 50,000 hard-boiled eggs last year for the roll. Now, I don't know how many there's going to be this year, but you know what I do know?
They're more expensive.
That's true. But that the North Carolina-based company, a farm, is going to be providing 20,000 of those eggs. The Braswell family farms will be providing those hard-boiled and dyed eggs. Their family's been producing eggs in Nashville, North Carolina for decades. Now, this is a picture of the original mill back in 1943. The family donated the eggs to the White House roll last year as well. So the family, they've got a connection. The 4th generation who's now running Braswell Family Farms, he got to take part in the egg roll just like you did when he was a kid.
Really
What do you remember from that?
I just remember it being a busy day, and I also went with my god family. My god sister got to go as well, and I just remember just being in awe, being on the grounds of the White House.
Yeah, and rolling eggs.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't even have to
American.
have like all the decorum of like sitting pretty or being quiet.
Right.
No, you get to roll the egg.
Right.
That's what
which
it's
is
all
fun.
about.
With 29,990. Right.
Well, of course, this got me down the rabbit hole of eggs because why wouldn't it? So North Carolina, did you know, is in the top 10 for egg production in the U.S. By far, Iowa is the top egg producer with the most hens around. Now, according to the North Carolina Egg Association, North Carolina hens lay 7.5 million eggs a day.
Wow.
And hens lay an egg about once every 26 hours and usually skip one day in the week. I mean,
The Lord's Day, Sunday, right?
Take a break. That's right.
I don't know,
A day
but
of
they
rest.
need to take a break.
Wow. I mean, that's it. I am just so fascinated that eggs, come from chickens that often.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Every single day.
Every day.
Every single day. Now, I know it seems like Easter's a long way off. It is not, friends, because it's less than a month away.
Oh my gosh, here we
Yeah,
go.
so get ready. Now, I've got a link to the White House egg roll in the 2 Wants to Know section so that you can get a ticket.
Sounds like fun.
I want to go.
Well, coming up, how working from home added benefits for more than just the employee. That's next. We are taking a closer look at preferred work environments. Most people would say they like to work from home. You can be around family in the comfort of your own home. But experts say there are more benefits of working from home than the convenience. Take a look.
Remote work is here to stay. Let's connect the dots. Before the pandemic, about 5% of full-time work was done from home. That jumped to more than 60% in the early days of the pandemic. Experts say that's about 40 years of pre-pandemic growth virtually overnight. New research finds the share of remote work is likely to stabilize around 25%. That's because employees say they enjoy having no commute, spending less time getting ready, and having a flexible schedule. And while most major companies have been pushing folks to get back in the office, experts say the benefits of remote work are pretty substantial. Economists say companies can save money on office space while recruiting from a broader pool of applicants. Studies also find working from home actually boosts productivity, with folks working about 30 minutes more a day. ZipRecruiter also finding job seekers would be willing to take a pay cut to work remotely. Those savings could help more companies survive a possible recession. And that is connecting the dots.
So I asked you on Facebook, what are the pros and cons of working from home? Here's what you all had to say. Brenda Domingo says pros, work-life balance, saves money, decreased stress level, cons, making connections, challenges with the visual need for certain tasks and projects. Stephanie Love Burris, I love working from home. Pros, no traffic, no spending extra money eating out. Cons, not being able to socialize with coworkers and becoming a hermit. Eric Chin, pros, save on gas, wear and tear on your car, dry cleaning, cleaning expenses. Food expense, no travel time. Cons, technology issues are harder to resolve from home. The expectation that you never call out sick or be late for work. That's a big one. And then Dustin wrote, pros, the refrigerator is only 10 feet away. Cons, the refrigerator is only 10 feet away.
So
I think
true.
a lot of us experienced that in the pandemic
Yes.
when we got that pandemic 15.
That's right. I remember, because I was in my bonus room during the pandemic, so I'd go, and I remember it was just way too easy to run downstairs and get something to eat and run back up no matter when you wanted it. And it's actually, for me to have to go out and get something to eat, or if I don't bring here, it actually makes me less likely to go out and get something. At home, I was eating all the time.
And you probably were just eating just to eat it. You know,
That's
sometimes
exactly
when you're
right.
bored or just want something to do, these chips look okay, and you're really not that hungry.
That's exactly right.
I liked it for a little bit, a couple of months, but I'm such a social person that I need to be around the people that I'm working directly with.
Me too.
I did see an article, CBS News did a story the other day on how some people who work from home are figuring out how to do it while also on vacation. If you have some of those friends who are like, oh, I'm going on vacation, but I'm going to work from home for a couple of hours while I'm there.
My mom.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean,
Yes.
if you could think about figuring out how to not have to use vacation time, but you're on vacation and just figure out how to work a couple hours a day. I mean, that's a pretty good setup.
That would
Yeah,
really
that
work
would
out.
work.
So I never got to work from home. I was one of the few people that stayed in the building, both at my last market and here as well. But one of the things I wish I did get to experience was not having that travel time to work.
Yes.
Being able to just do the meetings from home, I feel like you can get a jump start on your day, because that's about 30 minutes there that you just have
Easy.
out on the road. So that's the part that I wish I got to experience.
It's true. All right, talk to us on Facebook about that. We'll be right back. Well, in case you didn't know, today is National Pie Day. We're talking about the number 3.14, but we wanted to put a different spin on it, so we talked about pizza pie. What's your favorite way to eat pizza? Terry Lippert says the way that Bill's Pizza's pub slices, the way they do it, little squares. It's the only way to hold all the toppings, they say. Dawn says, I want all the ingredients on it. I call it my junk pizza. Glenda says thin crust with beef and onion. That's different. I've never had that. That actually sounds good. Brenda says hand tossed with less tomato sauce and more sausage and bacon and green peppers. And Mark Coleman says I eat 3.14% of the pizza at a time for National Pie Day. Very nice, Mark. Very
That's
nice.
great. I'm kind of basic when it comes to pizza. Give me a pepperoni pizza.
Really, just plain?
Yep, just pepperoni.
I like all of it. I love meat lovers. But my wife introduced me to this. She wants extra sauce always. She likes it really saucy.
Okay.
And so I started doing that with the extravaganza kind of thing, like a dump. That is awesome.
Does she love you more?
Probably not.
The
but
extra sauce.
just kidding.
I'm with Chad. I like a pepperoni pizza. Maybe I'll add some jalapenos, maybe some
Well, I
bacon.
love jalapenos.
But I like the pan crust, stuffed crust, and then I'm also a thin crust girl. It just
like
depends
all of
on
it.
it depends on where I'm getting it from.
So I like to roll pizza up and eat it like a little burrito.
Oh, interesting. I am on both ends of the extreme spectrum when it comes to crust. I like really thin crust, and I like deep dish pizza.
I do too.
Ooh, deep dish is good. But what I must have on any pizza I have, no matter the flavor, is ranch. I have to dip it in
I forgot
ranch.
this about you.
And not on it, dipped in
Dipped
it, right?
in it.
Yeah.
I like to dip.
You know, I
the
still haven't
pizza
tried
in
this, and
ranch.
you've talked about this for years now, and I've got to.
Oh,
good.
you're behind.
Here's another question. If you get it leftover pizza, do you prefer it warmed up or cold?
Oh, I like it warm. I know a lot of people like the cold pizza, but I've tried it. I'm like, whew,
I'll do
tastes like an
both.
ice cube. You like both?
I'd like them either way.
I
I'll eat
prefer
it
warmed up.
Yeah, if I had to pick one. But now you talk about dipping. I do dip it in blue cheese dressing sometimes.
Well, that's basically the same thing.
No, well,
No,
ranch
it's a
and
little
blue cheese
different.
are
And I got
different.
something else for you too. You might think I'm weird, and I've talked about this before. Honey mustard.
Oh, she has.
Honey
All right.
mustard.
Well,
You can't go wrong with dipping
We'll
pizza
see.
in honey mustard.
Sweet potato fries dipped in honey mustard, nothing better.
That's good. That's good. All right, let's
Take
talk
it to
about
the
our
bank.
forecast.
Nothing is wrong with honey mustard.
You
Not
get
even the weather.
If you get us on food, we are gone for days and days. Let's look at this, the winds out there. These are maximum wind gusts today, so basically since midnight, and the highest wind gust we've seen, 36 in Greensboro, 35 in Winston-Salem, Mount Airy, 28. All of that factored in with our current temperatures, which technically are in the 40s for the most part, makes it feel more like 35 in Winston. But look at Galax and Boone with a wind chill reading of 13 and 17. The winds, of course, in the mountains always stronger than here when we see systems moving by. Overnight lows tonight in the upper 20s for the most part. You can see the good news is we do see a little bit of a warming trend. We still see a freeze warning in effect. That's for overnight tonight, tomorrow morning, and maybe even the next morning as well. But once that high shifts south, we will start to warm it up a little bit. Thank goodness. Let's take a look at that 7-day. We go to 63 for your Thursday. Lots of sun. The next rain comes in for St. Patty's Day, second half of the day actually. Still in the 60s, but for your weekend, clearing and cooler, 57 and 51.
Well, now conservatives make up the majority of.
You know it must be cold when Tim is wearing his fleecy.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. Shoot.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Mic check, mic check.
Hello, mic check, 1, 2, 3. Baby hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3.
Them about their next move coming up. 3, 2, 1. The removal of these temporary homes in Greensboro.
It's time for my 2 cents. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share. As a 90s baby, I grew up listening to the Barney cleanup song. When that song came on, I knew it was time to pick up my toys, books, and art supplies. This song not only taught me responsibility, but it showed me how to contribute to the household. So when I heard this week was National Clean Out Your Closet Week, I was ready for the challenge. If you haven't already, this is the perfect time to start getting your spring cleaning lists together. One of the first things I plan to do is empty all my shelves and cubbies. This way I can wipe down and clear away any dust that might have gathered over the past season. Once that's finished, here comes the hard part, decluttering. It's so hard for me to let go of clothing. I always think, well, maybe one day I'll need this someday. Or I do plan to drop some weight I will eventually be able to squeeze back into this dress I bought several years ago. But let's face it, at this point, those clothes are just taking up space. I like to separate my clothes into different piles: keep, try on, and give away. The try on clothes will determine if I keep them or donate them to charity. One year, I had 4 big trash bags filled with clothes I gave to the Salvation Army. Not only did I have more space in my closet, but I was able to give back to those in need. Though this week may be declared National Clean Out Your Closet Week, I think it's a good idea to try to declutter and organize your closet a few times throughout the year. You'll feel less overwhelmed and happier about the extra space. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now. A missing 13-year-old girl from Texas found locked in a shed